Welcome, and thank you for being here. Find a comfortable position and allow yourself to settle. There is nothing you need to do right now, just this moment, this quiet time that belongs entirely to you. Let your body begin to release, your shoulders drop, your jaw relax, your breathing slow, naturally, effortlessly. For the next few hours, you're going to explore something remarkable, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Neuroplasticity, the quiet transformation that happens while you rest. You don't need to concentrate, you don't need to remember, you don't even need to stay awake. Let the words wash over you like gentle waves. Your brain is listening, even when you slip into sleep. So breathe, relax, and let yourself be carried into the hidden world of how you change. Beginning now with the nightly reset. As you settle in tonight, letting your body find its natural rest, there's something quiet happening beneath the surface of your awareness. As you drift from wakefulness into those gentle theta waves, the brain begins its nightly recalibration. These are slow waves, soft electrical rhythms, moving through your mind like gentle currents. Theta waves appear in that liminal space, neither fully awake nor fully asleep. They signal the beginning of something profound, a shift from doing to being, from effort to release. There's nothing you need to do, no effort required. Just the soft transition from one state to another. Your brain knows how to do this. It's been doing it your entire life. The recalibration is already underway. During early sleep, neural activity slows. It's a gradual dimming, like lights lowering in a vast theater. The frantic pace of daytime thinking begins to quiet. Neurons that were firing rapidly, communicating urgently, start to settle. This slowing creates space for internal reorganization. The brain making room, shifting, preparing. Like clearing a workspace before beginning something important. You don't need to understand it, or even stay awake for it. It's already happening, invisibly, perfectly, on its own. There's a threshold you cross, a place between waking and sleeping. The hypnagogic state, where conscious imagery begins to blend with something underneath. Images that don't quite make sense, thoughts that drift and merge. You might see faces you don't recognize, places you've never been, or familiar things arranged in impossible ways. This is subconscious material rising to meet the surface. The hidden parts of your mind beginning to speak. It's neither here nor there, just a soft merging, a gentle blurring of boundaries. Don't try to make sense of it. Just let it wash over you. And those pre-sleep thoughts, the ones that float through your mind right now, they're quietly imprinting on neural networks. Not permanently, not rigidly, just touching down, leaving traces that will later be refined, shaped, integrated. Like footprints in sand before the tide comes in. What you think about now, what you hold in your awareness, it matters. Not because you need to control it, but because your brain is listening, taking note of what's important to you. There's nothing you need to remember. The brain is doing its own work. Those theta rhythms moving through your mind, slow waves of electrical activity. They're helping to tag certain synapses, marking what matters, not everything, just what's important. What needs attention? What might be kept for later restructuring? It's like a librarian moving through endless shelves, placing small markers on certain books, certain memories, certain connections. This one and this one, these matter. It's a quiet sorting process, invisible, effortless, happening entirely without your conscious involvement. You can simply rest and trust. You may notice how attention begins to withdraw from the outside world. Sounds become distant, like they're coming from far away. Sensations soften. The feeling of the blanket, the pillow, they fade into background. The room around you starts to disappear. This is guided by something deep in the brainstem, the Reticular Activating System. The RAS, your brain's gatekeeper, deciding what gets through to your awareness. As you prepare for sleep, it gently reduces its signal, turning down the volume on the external world, letting the outside recede so the internal world can emerge. This is natural, safe, exactly what should be happening. This inward focus, this turning away from the day, prepares the brain for deep plastic change. Plasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, to reshape, to transform. It requires this inward turning, this release from the external. Change that happens in stillness, in rest, in the absence of effort. Your only task is to let go, to allow this natural shift, to trust what the brain already knows how to do. You don't have to make it happen, it's already happening. Just relax and allow. Beneath your fading awareness, neural networks are beginning to replay patterns from the day. Conversations you had, movements you made, thoughts that crossed your mind hours ago. Playing back in fragments, in whispers. Not in order, not complete, just pieces, echoes. You won't hear them consciously, you don't need to. The brain is reviewing, re-experiencing, processing what happened while you were awake. Like watching a film on fast forward, catching glimpses, feeling impressions. This is how memory consolidates, how learning deepens. Through quiet repetition in the darkness. Let it happen. You don't need to participate. And these replays, they're not random. They're quietly evaluating what should be kept, what can be released, what strengthened you, what no longer serves. It's a gentle sorting, a silent decision-making process. Your brain is wise. It knows what you need, what will help you, and what can safely be let go, happening entirely on its own. There's nothing for you to do but rest. Trust the process. Trust the night. Sleep becomes the gateway. The passage between experience and transformation. What you lived through today and what you'll carry forward tomorrow. This threshold, this crossing, it's where change begins. Not in the bright light of consciousness, but here, in the soft darkness of rest, where the brain rewires itself in silence, in safety, in deep rest. Every night is an opportunity to integrate what you've learned, to release what you don't need, to become slightly different than you were. Just let the words drift by. You don't need to hold on to anything. Sleep is doing its work. The gateway is open, and you are already crossing through. In deep non-REM sleep, something remarkable begins. You've descended now, past the lighter stages, into the depths. This is where the most profound restoration happens. Overall synaptic strength is gently reduced, not erased, just softened, turned down, like dimming lights throughout a vast city. Every connection in your brain, every synapse, experiences this gentle reduction. This might sound concerning, but it's actually protective, necessary, wise. This is the brain's way of simplifying, of preventing overwhelm, creating space for what truly matters. Weak connections, the ones rarely used, they begin to fade. These are the pathways you've stopped traveling, the thoughts you no longer think, the skills you haven't practiced, the memories that hold no meaning, quietly dissolving, returning to silence. There's no violence in this, no loss, just a natural letting go, like leaves falling from a tree in autumn, making room for new growth, new possibility. You don't need these weak connections anymore, and your brain knows this. While strong, meaningful pathways, the ones that matter. They're preserved, reinforced, held close. The connections you use every day, the skills that serve you, the memories that define you, the knowledge you need. These aren't just maintained, they're strengthened, made more robust, more reliable, more permanent. Your brain knows which memories serve you, which patterns help you, and which can be let go. This discrimination happens without your conscious input. Trust it. Dendritic spines, tiny branches on your neurons. They're being trimmed or strengthened right now as you rest. These microscopic structures, thousands of them on each neuron. They're where connections happen, where one neuron speaks to another. Some shrink back, retracting, disappearing, while others grow stronger, larger, more stable. Like pruning a garden, removing what's overgrown, what's weak, so the healthy plants can thrive. Your brain is a garden, and sleep is the gardener. Tending, shaping, caring. This pruning prevents neural overload. Without it, your brain would become cluttered, overwhelmed, chaotic. Every small detail, every passing moment, every fleeting thought, trying to stay. The system would become saturated, unable to function. But sleep prevents this. Through this gentle, systematic pruning, sleep knows what to keep and what to release, maintaining balance, preventing overload, preserving clarity. You wake up able to think clearly, to focus, to function, because the night cleared away what you didn't need. Mental clutter is released, without erasing essential learning. The important things remain, the things you need, the things that make you who you are. Your core memories, your vital skills, your deep knowledge. All of this stays intact, protected, even strengthened. But the noise, the static, the unnecessary weight, the mental debris that accumulates through living, it drifts away, released into the night, like dust being gently blown from a surface, revealing what was always underneath. You don't lose anything that matters, only what doesn't. And as this happens, emotional regulation improves. Overactive circuits begin to quiet down. The parts of your brain that were running too hot, reacting too quickly, too intensely, they cool, they settle, they find equilibrium. Like a storm passing, leaving calm water behind. Emotions that felt overwhelming yesterday, they seem smaller somehow. More manageable, less consuming. You may notice this when you wake. things that triggered you, that sent you spiraling, they don't have the same grip anymore. Because the circuits have been pruned, the intensity reduced. Focus and resilience are restored for the next day. Not through effort, but through rest. Through this gentle pruning that happens in darkness. Your ability to concentrate, to stay with something, to persist. It returns, refreshed, renewed. Because your brain has been simplified, streamlined, optimized. The clutter removed, the pathways cleared. You wake up ready, capable, resilient. Not because you did anything, but because sleep did everything. The brain invests energy only where it matters most. It's efficient, selective, wise. Energy is finite, resources are limited. So the brain makes choices, prioritizes, allocates carefully, strengthening what serves you, releasing what doesn't. Investing in the connections that will help you thrive. Letting go of what no longer contributes to your life. This is intelligence, not waste, not loss. Your brain is working for you, always, even now. Making you better, clearer, more capable. And through this process, adaptability is preserved. Your brain stays flexible, responsive, alive through selective simplification. If everything were kept, if nothing were pruned, you'd become rigid, fixed, unable to change. But because weak connections fade, because space is created, you remain adaptable, capable of learning, capable of growing. Less becomes more. Clarity emerges from letting go. And all of this happens while you sleep, while you rest, while you dream, while you do nothing at all. There's nothing you need to do. Just allow the night to do its work. Trust the pruning, trust the process. Your brain knows what to keep and what to release. And tomorrow, you'll wake up lighter, clearer, more yourself. Because tonight, the clutter is being cleared. Gently, perfectly, completely. Experiences from the day, the moments you lived through, they mark certain synapses for reinforcement. Every experience leaves a trace, an impression, a signal. Like leaving small flags, invisible markers throughout your neural landscape, telling the brain, this matters, remember this, keep this. The conversation that moved you, the skill you practiced, the moment that surprised you. Each one places a marker, a tag, on specific connections. Not random, not accidental, but purposeful, meaningful. Your experiences are speaking to your brain, and your brain is listening. This process is known as synaptic tagging and capture, a quiet conversation between experience and memory, between what happened and what will remain. The tag is the marker, placed during the experience itself. The capture happens later, during sleep, when resources arrive to strengthen what was tagged. It's a two-part process, elegant, efficient. Experience marks, sleep captures. Together they transform moments into lasting structure. You don't need to understand the mechanism, just know it's happening. Right now, as you rest. Repeated thoughts increase the likelihood of tagging. The things you think about again and again, the patterns you return to, the feelings you revisit, the ideas you hold. They're more likely to be chosen, to be kept, to be woven into you. Repetition is a form of emphasis, a way of telling your brain, this is important, this matters, pay attention to this. One thought, one moment, it might not be enough. But return to it, think it again, feel it again. And the brain takes notice, places a stronger tag, prioritizes it for capture. What you practice, you become. Calm or intentional focus before sleep biases this selection. What you think about as you drift off. What you hold in your mind during these quiet moments, right now. It influences what gets tagged, what gets remembered, what gets built. Your last thoughts before sleep carry weight. They're like final instructions given to the night. If you focus on worry, anxiety, fear, those connections may be tagged. If you focus on calm, gratitude, peace, those connections receive the marker instead. They shape what your brain will choose to build. So what you hold in your mind now matters. During sleep, plasticity-related proteins are produced. Tiny molecular workers, created in the darkness, synthesized within your cells, assembled piece by piece, designed to strengthen, to stabilize, to build. These proteins are the physical substance of memory, of learning, of change. Without them, tags would remain just tags, markers without meaning. But with them, temporary becomes permanent, fragile becomes solid. Your brain is manufacturing them right now. As you rest, as you sleep, the factory is running, producing exactly what you need to capture what was tagged. And these proteins, they travel, moving through your neural landscape like quiet messengers, carried along pathways, guided by signals, drawn towards specific destinations, seeking out the tagged synapses, the marked connections, the ones your experiences have chosen. They don't go everywhere, only where they're needed, where tags have been placed. This is precision, not randomness. Your brain knows where to send the resources. Which synapses need strengthening, which connections matter, and the proteins travel there reliably, perfectly. When they arrive, something changes. Tagged connections physically reshape and stabilize. The synapse itself transforms, growing larger, more receptive, more efficient. The physical structure changes, proteins are incorporated, new receptors are built. What was temporary becomes lasting. What was fragile becomes solid, resilient, permanent. A connection that might have faded now persists. A pathway that was weak now strengthens. This is the capture, the consolidation, the transformation of tag into structure. And it's happening right now, in countless places throughout your brain. New learning becomes embedded in neural architecture. Not just remembered, but built into you. Part of your structure now, part of who you are. The skill you practiced today, the insight you had, the kindness you showed, they're being woven into your neural fabric, becoming less like something you know and more like something you are. Through this nightly embedding, this quiet construction, experience becomes architecture. The brain reflects what you practice most often, what you do repeatedly, what you think regularly, what you feel habitually. It shows up in your wiring, in your pathways, in your responses. Practice kindness, and kindness circuits strengthen. Practice worry, and worry pathways deepen. Practice gratitude, and gratitude becomes more automatic. You become what you return to. Not through magic, not through wishful thinking, but through this concrete, physical process, tagging and capture, protein synthesis and structural change. Your brain literally reshapes itself to match your practice. And slowly, so slowly, you might not notice. Structure follows intention. What you focus on, what you practice, what you believe, what you choose, shapes you literally, physically, structurally. Not immediately, not overnight, but gradually, reliably. Night after night, choice by choice, thought by thought. Your brain is being built by what you give it. The intentions you hold become the tags that are placed. The tags that are placed become the proteins that travel. The proteins that travel become the structure that stabilizes. And the structure that stabilizes becomes who you are. So let yourself rest now, knowing that even in sleep, the work continues. Your intentions are becoming your structure. Your practice is becoming your being. And tomorrow, you'll wake up slightly different, slightly more aligned with what you've been choosing. Because tonight, the tags are being captured. The proteins are traveling. And you are being built. One synapse at a time. REM sleep reactivates emotionally charged memories. The moments that moved you, that hurt you, that changed you, they surface again in the night. Not to haunt you, but to heal. During REM, your eyes move rapidly beneath closed lids. Your brain becomes active again, almost as active as waking. And it reaches back into the emotional archives, pulling out memories that carry charge, that hold feeling, that matter. The argument you had, the loss you felt, the moment you were afraid. They're being brought back, revisited, reprocessed. During this reprocessing, something protective happens. Stress responses are reduced. The alarm bells that rang so loudly when the memory first formed, they're turned down, softened, quieted. Your body doesn't flood with stress hormones the way it did before. Noradrenaline, the chemical of panic and alarm, it's nearly absent during REM. This creates a safe container, a protected space. So you can revisit what happened without being flooded, without being overwhelmed. Like watching a film of a difficult moment, feeling it, but from a slight distance. Close enough to process, far enough to survive. Fear links weaken. The connection between a memory and the terror it once carried. It begins to loosen, to fray, to separate. You still remember what happened. The events remain. The facts stay clear. While learning remains intact. You still know what you learned from that moment. The lesson, the insight, the understanding. That stays with you, preserved, useful, important. But the fear, the overwhelming emotion, the paralyzing terror, it starts to release, to diminish, to lose its grip. This is the gift of REM, separating wisdom from wound. Emotional experiences are integrated into a coherent narrative. The scattered pieces of what you felt, the confusion, the fragmentation, the chaos of emotion. They're woven together into something that makes sense. a story you can hold, a pattern you can understand. Not random, not chaotic, but meaningful, comprehensible. Your brain creates connections between moments, finds threads, builds continuity. This happened, and then this, and that led to this feeling. The narrative emerges, and with it, understanding. You wake up making more sense to yourself. Defensive patterns begin to soften. The walls you built to protect yourself. The shields you raised when the world felt dangerous, when trust felt impossible. The automatic reactions, the guardedness, the self-protection. They don't crumble, they don't disappear, but they ease just a little, becoming slightly more flexible. Enough to let something new in, enough to allow connection. You don't have to force this, it happens naturally. As emotional memories are reprocessed, defenses become less necessary. Safety grows and walls lower. The world quietly update. What you believed had to be true, what you thought would always hurt. Those beliefs shift, gently, without you noticing. The world becomes a little less threatening, a little more open. You expect kindness where you once expected cruelty. You anticipate safety where you once anticipated harm. Not naively, not without wisdom, but with a calibrated sense of possibility, a realistic hope. Your predictions about what will happen, they're being revised. Based on reprocessed memories, updated emotions, new integration. Old emotional loops lose intensity. The patterns that used to pull you in, the reactions that felt automatic, inevitable. The spiral of shame, the cascade of anger, the collapse into despair. They weaken, not erased, but less urgent, less consuming, less powerful. You find yourself responding differently without trying, without forcing. Something that would have triggered the loop sends you down a different path instead. Because the neural pathway has been reprocessed, the emotion has been integrated. The loop still exists, but it's fading, losing strength. And one day you realize it doesn't pull you anymore. Compassionate interpretations become more available. Where you once saw only threat, you might notice complexity. Where you once felt only anger, you might find understanding, curiosity, sadness. Where you once blamed yourself entirely, you might see the whole picture. Not forced, not fake, not performed, but genuinely easier to access, naturally arising. Because the emotional charge has lessened. Because REM sleep has reprocessed the memory in a gentler neurochemical environment. Compassion for yourself and others becomes less effortful. It's there, waiting, ready. Emotional balance is refined rather than suppressed. Your feelings aren't being pushed down, ignored, buried, denied. They're being processed, integrated, balanced, woven into the larger tapestry. You still feel deeply, fully, authentically. But the feelings become workable, manageable, part of your experience rather than the entirety of it. So they can inform you, guide you, teach you, without controlling you, without overwhelming you, without defining you. This is refinement, not suppression. Your emotional life becoming richer, more nuanced, more balanced. The past becomes informative. Instead of overwhelming, what happened to you? It still matters. It still teaches. It still holds meaning. But it no longer dominates, no longer controls, no longer defines everything. It becomes one part of your story, not the entire story. You can look back, remember, learn, without being pulled back, without reliving the intensity, without losing yourself. The past informs your present, gives you wisdom, offers perspective. But it doesn't imprison you. It becomes wisdom rather than weight. And all of this happens while you dream, while your eyes move beneath closed lids, while your mind wanders through strange landscapes, impossible scenarios, symbolic narratives. The emotional rewriting continues. Without effort, without struggle, without conscious direction. Just rest and let the healing unfold. Let REM sleep do what it knows how to do. Reactivate, reduce, reprocess, integrate. Your emotions are being tended to. Your memories are being healed. And you are being freed. One dream at a time. Parasympathetic dominance supports restorative sleep. This is the calm side of your nervous system. The rest and digest state, the peaceful setting, the healing mode. When it takes over, when it leads, true restoration begins. Your nervous system has two branches, two modes of being. Sympathetic, the accelerator, the fight or flight response. And parasympathetic, the brake, the rest and restore response. During sleep, parasympathetic should dominate, should guide, should hold you. This shift signals the body it's safe to let go, safe to repair, safe to heal. Without this dominance, sleep remains shallow, guarded, incomplete. The vagus nerve signals safety to the brain. This long, wandering nerve, the longest cranial nerve in your body, traveling from your brainstem down through your chest into your abdomen. It touches your heart, your lungs, your digestive organs, and it carries messages, constant communication from body to brain. Quiet reassurances, gentle signals, whispers of safety, telling your brain the heart is steady, breathing is slow, digestion is calm. You're safe. You can let go now. You can rest deeply. This is not a decision, not a thought, but a physiological knowing. Safety traveling from body to brain, through the vagus nerve. Heart rate slows. Each beat becomes more measured, more steady, more rhythmic. The rapid pounding of the day, the quickened pulse of stress. It settles, it calms, it finds its resting pace. And stress hormones drop. Cortisol, adrenaline, the chemicals of alertness and alarm. They recede like a tide going out, leaving stillness behind, quiet, peace. Your body chemistry shifts from activation to restoration, from doing to being, from vigilance to surrender. When the body feels safe, cellular repair increases. Tiny damages from the day, wear and tear you never noticed. They're being mended, cell by cell, molecule by molecule. DNA is being checked and corrected. Proteins are being rebuilt. Tissues are regenerating. Muscles are recovering. This is deep work, foundational work, happening at the smallest scales. And brain detoxification increases. The glymphatic system awakens, becomes active, flows freely. Like a gentle tide washing through your brain, carrying away metabolic waste, clearing cellular debris, removing what accumulated during waking. Toxins that built up through thinking, through being, through living. They're being flushed out, cleared away, eliminated. Your brain is being cleansed, refreshed, purified. And you don't have to do anything, just rest and let it happen. Deeper sleep stages become more accessible. When safety is established, when the body trusts the environment, when the vagus nerve sends its reassuring signals, you can sink further, descend deeper, into slow wave sleep, into restoration, into healing depths. Without safety, the brain stays near the surface, ready to wake, ready to respond. But with safety, with parasympathetic dominance, with vagal tone, the brain allows itself to dive, to explore the deepest stages, where the most profound healing happens. This is a gift of safety, access to depth. Defensive neural loops relax. The circuits that keep you on guard, scanning for danger, ready to react. They soften, they ease, they release their vigilance. Not gone, just resting, trusting that nothing needs to be fought right now. These loops run constantly during the day, protecting you, keeping you alert. But at night, when safety signals arrive, when the vagus nerve speaks, they can finally rest. The hypervigilance dissolves, the constant scanning pauses. Your nervous system exhales, and in that exhalation, space opens. Healing becomes possible. Fear-based wiring becomes easier to release. When you feel safe, truly safe, deeply safe, the patterns built from fear, the responses learned in danger, the wiring formed through trauma, they lose their grip just a little. The brain needs safety to rewire. You can't release fear while you're afraid. You can't let go while you're holding on for survival. But when the vagus nerve signals safety, when parasympathetic dominance settles in, the conditions are right, the environment is prepared, and fear-based wiring begins to soften, to change, to transform. Enough to begin letting go, enough to start healing. Body-to-brain communication strengthens trust signals. Your body is constantly talking to your brain through heart rhythms, through breath patterns, through the vagus nerve, through muscle tension, through digestion, through 1,000 subtle signals. And when the body says, "We're safe, we can relax, we can rest," the brain listens and begins to believe. This is bottom-up regulation, body teaching brain. Not through thoughts or willpower, but through physiological truth. Your body knows safety before your mind does. And it shares that knowing generously, constantly. Calm nights support calmer days. The peace you find in sleep, it doesn't stay in the darkness. It carries forward into morning, into afternoon, into the next night, into your waking hours, into your reactions, into how you meet the world. Each peaceful night builds a foundation of regulation, of safety, of trust. And from that foundation, you navigate the day differently. Less reactive, more grounded, more resilient. The calm becomes your baseline, your default, your home state. Built one safe night at a time. Safety becomes the foundation for plasticity. Without safety, the brain cannot truly change. It remains in survival mode, rigid, defensive, conservative, holding onto old patterns because old patterns kept you alive. But when safety settles in, when the body exhales, when the vagus nerve speaks, the brain becomes soft enough to reshape, open enough to rewire, flexible enough to change, trusting enough to transform. Plasticity requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires safety. So safety is the ground, the soil, the necessary condition for everything else to grow. So breathe. Let your body signal safety. Let the vagus nerve whisper, "You're okay. You're held." Let your heart slow. Let stress hormones drop. Let parasympathetic dominance settle in. And rest in knowing. This is where change begins. In safety, in calm, in the deep trust that you are okay. Right here, right now, in this moment, you are safe. And from this safety, everything becomes possible. Identity spans many interconnected brain regions. Who you are, it's not stored in one place, not held in a single location. It's distributed, scattered, woven through multiple areas of your brain. The prefrontal cortex holds your goals, your values, your sense of future self. The temporal lobes store your autobiographical memories, the story of your life. The insula tracks your bodily sensations, your felt sense of being. The default mode network creates your continuous narrative, your sense of me. A network, vast and intricate, holding the story of you. And all of these must communicate, must integrate, must work together. For you to feel like a coherent self. Sleep coordinates activity across these networks. While you rest, these scattered regions begin to communicate, synchronizing, harmonizing, finding rhythm together. What was fragmented during the day, pieces of self spread across neural space. They're being woven together, integrated, unified. Sleep creates coherence from what was dispersed. The memory systems talk to the emotional systems. The bodily sensing areas connect with the narrative-making regions, creating coherence from what was fragmented. This is how you wake up feeling like yourself, continuous, whole. Visualizing calm or confidence tags, identity-related synapses. When you imagine yourself peaceful, capable, whole. When you hold an image of who you want to be. Those thoughts don't just float away, don't just disappear into nothing. They mark certain connections, certain pathways in the identity networks. telling your brain, "This is who I want to be. This is the self I'm choosing." The visualization becomes a tag, a marker, a signal. And during sleep, those tagged synapses receive attention, resources, reinforcement. What you imagine begins to shape what you become, not through magic, but through tagging and consolidation. Activity binds images, emotions, and sensations into unified patterns. Those slow brain waves, the ones that come before sleep, during meditation, during rest. They act like thread, weaving together different elements of experience. A memory of feeling calm, an image of yourself smiling, a sensation of ease in your body. Normally these would remain separate, disconnected pieces. But theta rhythms bind them, link them, fuse them into a single pattern. Image plus emotion plus sensation equals unified experience. All bound together, inseparable, whole. This is how complex identity forms, through binding, through integration. And theta is the mechanism, the force that weaves. And these patterns, over time, they begin to feel like you. Not something you're pretending to be, not a performance, not a mask, but genuinely, authentically who you are. Because they've been integrated, wired in, made real at the neural level. The calm self you visualized, it's no longer an aspiration. It's a pattern, a network, a structure that activates naturally. It feels like you because it is you. Built through visualization, bound through theta, consolidated through sleep. Identity emerging from repetition, from intention, from rest. Over repeated nights, identity networks stabilize. One night isn't enough. One dream won't transform you. One visualization won't rebuild your sense of self. But night after night, as you rest and process and integrate, these new patterns become more solid, more reliable, more automatic. The connections strengthen, the networks deepen, the identity crystallizes. What felt fragile at first, uncertain, like it might disappear, it gains stability, permanence, durability, until they're not new anymore. They're just you. The person you visualized becomes the person you are. Through repeated consolidation, night after night. Old self-concepts gradually lose dominance. The stories you used to tell yourself, the beliefs about who you were. I'm anxious. I'm not good enough. I'm broken. I always fail. They don't disappear overnight. They don't vanish suddenly, but they fade slowly, gently, imperceptibly, losing their grip, their certainty, their hold on you. The neural networks that supported those old identities, they're being pruned, weakened through disuse. Because you're no longer reinforcing them, no longer feeding them. You're building something new instead. While new narratives gain structural support, the different story, the one where you're capable, resilient, whole. It's not just a hope anymore, not just wishful thinking. It's being built into your neural architecture. Given weight, given substance, given pathways and connections. The new narrative is gaining the structural support it needs to feel real, to feel true, to feel possible. And as it gains support, it gains power. Until one day, it's not the new narrative anymore. It's just your story. The sense of self becomes more coherent. Instead of contradictory, fragmented, confused, scattered, you begin to feel whole, integrated, unified. Like the pieces of who you are, they finally fit together, making sense, creating a harmony, forming a complete picture. The different parts of you, they're no longer at war. They're in conversation, in cooperation, in alignment. This coherence is built through sleep, through the coordination of identity networks, through the binding of images and emotions and sensations. Night after night, integration deepens, coherence grows, and identity shifts. Without conscious force, you don't have to strain or push or force yourself to change. You don't have to white-knuckle your way into a new identity. It happens naturally, organically, inevitably. Through rest, through repetition, through the quiet work of sleep, through visualization that tags synapses, through theta that binds patterns, through consolidation that stabilizes networks. Who you are becoming is already being wired. Night by night, dream by dream, visualization by visualization, until one day you realize you're not who you used to be. And it feels perfectly natural, completely right, entirely you, because it is. This is who you've been building, who you've been choosing night after night. And now you've arrived, or rather, you're arriving continuously. Always. Because identity isn't fixed. It's always being wired, always being shaped. And tonight, as you sleep, you're becoming. The RAS filters what reaches conscious awareness. The Reticular Activating System, deep in your brainstem, ancient, essential. It's a gatekeeper, a filter, a selective barrier, deciding what you notice, what you see, what enters your conscious mind. Out of millions of sensory inputs flooding in every second, sights, sounds, sensations, smells, internal signals, only a tiny fraction reach your awareness. The rest form filtered out, left in the background, deemed irrelevant. You can't possibly attend to everything. Your conscious mind would be overwhelmed. So the RAS chooses, selects, decides what matters. By day, it favors expectation-aligned stimuli. What you expect to see, you tend to see. What you believe is there becomes visible, noticeable, salient. If you expect danger, the RAS highlights potential threats. If you expect rejection, the RAS notices signs of disapproval. If you expect beauty, the RAS finds it, shows it to you, brings it forward. The RAS opens the gate to things that match your existing patterns, your beliefs, your identity, and quietly closes it to everything else. This creates a self-fulfilling loop. You see what you expect, which confirms your expectations. Round and round, perception reinforcing belief. By night, sleep helps update those expectations. As you rest, as your brain reorganizes, consolidates, integrates, the filtering rules begin to shift, recalibrate, adjust. What you believed was important yesterday might change. What you expected to see might update. Sleep rewrites the rules gently, gradually, making room for new priorities, new expectations, new ways of seeing. The RAS is being reprogrammed, not through effort, but through rest, through the natural plasticity that unfolds in darkness. Tomorrow you might notice different things, not because the world changed, but because your filter did. Synaptic changes influence what the RAS treats as important. When connections strengthen or weaken during sleep, when identity networks stabilize, when emotional memories are reprocessed, the gatekeeper adjusts its priorities, its criteria, its rules. What matters to your brain? What gets flagged as relevant? What deserves attention? It updates quietly, automatically, without you deciding. If synapses related to safety strengthen, the RAS starts prioritizing safety signals. If connections related to possibility grow, the RAS begins highlighting opportunities. The physical structure of your brain determines what your consciousness receives. Change the structure, and you change what you see. As beliefs shift, filtering rules adjust. If you start to believe you're capable, the RAS begins noticing evidence of capability, moments when you succeeded, times you managed. If you start to feel safer in the world, the RAS highlights moments of safety, friendly faces, supportive gestures, things that were always there, but invisible, filtered out until now. Your beliefs act as instructions, telling the RAS what to look for. Change your beliefs, and the instructions change. And suddenly, you're seeing a different world. Not because it changed, but because you did. Signals of safety and possibility pass through more easily. What once would have been filtered out, dismissed, ignored, irrelevant, now catches your attention, enters your awareness, becomes noticeable. Opportunities you would have missed, you suddenly see. Reassurances you wouldn't have noticed, you now perceive. Moments of connection, beauty, kindness, possibility. They start appearing not because the world changed, not because they're new, but because your filter changed, your RAS recalibrated, your expectations updated. The gate opened, and what was always there can finally come through. This is the gift of neuroplasticity. You can change what you see. Attention patterns become more flexible. You're no longer locked into seeing only threat, only limitation, only problems. Your awareness opens, widens, becomes more inclusive, capable of noticing a wider range, a fuller spectrum, a richer picture. Where once you had tunnel vision, focused only on danger or deficiency, now you have peripheral vision, able to see threat and safety, problem and possibility. Your attention becomes fluid, adaptable, responsive to context. Not stuck in one mode, but able to shift, to adjust, to meet what's actually here. This flexibility is freedom, the freedom to see clearly. Built through sleep, through synaptic change, through updated filtering rules. Reality feels different. Without changing externally, the world around you, it's the same people, same places, same circumstances. But your experience of it shifts, transforms, becomes something new. because you're noticing different aspects, different details, different truths. What felt threatening might now feel neutral or even safe. What felt impossible might now feel challenging but doable. What felt lonely might now reveal connection that was always present. Reality is subjective, not in a wishy-washy way, but in a neurological way. What you perceive depends on your filter, and your filter can change. Perception aligns with inner wiring. What you see out there reflects what's built in here, in your brain, in your networks. Your external experience mirrors your internal architecture. The way you're wired determines what you notice, what you see, what becomes real for you. Change the wiring, and the world transforms. Not magically, not mysteriously, but mechanistically. Through the RAS, through filtering, through selective attention. Your perception is a projection of your inner structure onto external reality. Reshape the structure, and you reshape the projection. This is why two people can see the same situation so differently. They have different wiring, different filters, different RAS settings. Awareness reflects identity. Who you believe you are determines what you notice. And what you notice reinforces who you believe you are. It's a loop, a cycle, awareness and identity dancing together. If your identity is anxious person, your awareness highlights threats. If your identity is capable person, your awareness highlights opportunities. The RAS serves your identity, shows you what confirms it, protects it, reinforces it. But this loop can be gently reshaped through sleep, through rest, through the quiet updating of expectations and beliefs. As identity shifts, awareness shifts. As awareness shifts, identity is confirmed, stabilized, reinforced. So let your awareness soften now. Let the RAS rest its vigilance, release its tight filtering, and trust that when you wake, you might notice something new, something different, something that was always there in the world, in reality, waiting to be seen, waiting for your filter to open. And it will. Because tonight, the RAS is being updated. The expectations are shifting, the rules are adjusting, and tomorrow you'll see with new eyes. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Sleep-dependent plasticity supports trauma recovery. even the deepest wounds, the ones that changed how you see the world. They can heal slowly through the restorative power of sleep. Not erased, but transformed, integrated, made workable. Trauma lives in the body, in the nervous system, in automatic responses. And sleep reaches those depths where conscious effort cannot. Rewiring what was wired in survival, in terror, in overwhelming moments. This is biology, not weakness, and biology can change. Through rest, through safety, through the plasticity that unfolds in darkness. Healing is happening even now. Threat responses slowly uncouple from safe situations. Your body learned to react, to protect, to prepare for danger. Even in moments that were actually safe. The alarm sounds, the heart races, the body braces. Because once the danger was real and the lesson was learned deeply. But night by night, the connection weakens, loosens, softens. The alarm stops sounding where there's no fire. Safety becomes recognizable again, distinguishable from threat. Your nervous system relearns. This moment is not that moment. This person is not that person. Now is not then. The nervous system learns it can relax. This is new information for a system that stayed vigilant so long. Learning that the danger has passed, that the threat is over, that rest is possible, that letting go won't lead to harm. It's a gradual knowing, earned through repeated safe nights. Not a decision, not a belief, but a felt experience. The body discovering, I can exhale, I can soften, I can be here without fighting. Each peaceful sleep is evidence, proof, testimony. You rested, and nothing bad happened. You let go, and you were safe. The nervous system takes note, begins to trust. Top-down regulation strengthens. The higher parts of your brain, the thinking, reasoning, choosing parts, they begin to have more influence over the lower, reactive parts. Where once your amygdala ruled, firing alarm after alarm, now your prefrontal cortex can step in, gently saying, "We're okay. This is safe." The connection between them strengthens. The communication improves. Your thinking brain can soothe your survival brain. Not overriding, not suppressing, but guiding, calming, reassuring. This is regulation, the ability to modulate your own state. Built through sleep, through consolidation, through repeated practice. higher brain regions guide emotional responses. Instead of being swept away by every surge of feeling, you find yourself able to observe, to choose, to modulate, to shape. Not suppressing, not denying, not pushing away, but guiding, holding, working with what arises. Your emotions become something you work with, rather than something that happens to you. The prefrontal cortex learns to interpret signals from the amygdala. To ask, is this truly dangerous, or does it just feel familiar? To respond thoughtfully, rather than react automatically. This capacity grows, night by night, as top-down pathways strengthen. Compassionate self-talk becomes automatic. The kind voice, the understanding words you practice, they stop being forced, effortful, something you have to remember to do. They become your default, your first response, your natural way. The way you naturally speak to yourself, wired in, habitual, true. Where once there was harsh criticism, now there's gentle understanding. Where once there was blame, now there's compassion. This isn't pretending, it's restructuring, actual neural change. The compassionate pathways strengthen, the critical ones weaken, until kindness becomes effortless, automatic, just who you are. Stress recovery speeds up. When something difficult happens, when tension rises, when activation comes, you return to baseline faster, more smoothly, more completely. The spike doesn't last as long. The activation settles more quickly. Your system knows how to come back down, has practiced the path, remembers the way. Where once you'd stay activated for hours, days, now you settle in minutes or moments. This is resilience, not the absence of stress, but the ability to recover. Built through sleep, through vagal tone, through repeated safe returns. Your nervous system becomes elastic, able to stretch and return. Emotional flexibility increases. You're no longer locked in one response, one reaction, one feeling. You can feel anger and also compassion, both simultaneously. You can feel fear and also curiosity, grief and also gratitude. Multiple responses become available where before there was only one. This is nuance, complexity, the ability to hold both and instead of either or. Your emotional range expands, your palette grows richer. You become capable of more subtle responses, more varied reactions. Not stuck, not rigid, but fluid, adaptive, alive. This flexibility is freedom. Rigid negative loops lose pathways. The thoughts that used to spiral, automatic and unstoppable, they start to stutter, to weaken, to lose momentum. The neural highways that carried them begin to fade, narrow, disappear. Not through force, not through fighting, but through disuse. New pathways grow stronger, old ones quietly dissolve. The spiral that once felt inevitable now has exits, escape routes, alternatives. You catch yourself earlier, redirect more easily, choose differently, until one day the loop doesn't even start. Because the pathway is gone, pruned away during sleep, released. Regulation becomes embodied. It's not something you think about anymore. Not a skill you consciously apply, not a technique you remember. It lives in your body, in your breath, in your posture, in your presence. An automatic steadiness, a built-in capacity to return to calm. Your nervous system knows the way home, has walked it so many times. It doesn't need directions, doesn't need reminders. It just goes, naturally, effortlessly. This is the gift of embodied regulation, freedom from constant effort. And all of this happens through rest, through safe nights, repeated over time. Each one rewiring, reshaping, healing, integrating. So breathe. Let tonight be another step. Another night of gentle transformation. From survival toward connection. From fear toward trust. One peaceful night at a time. REM sleep supports creative recombination of memories. During dreams, the brain takes pieces of what you know and puts them together in new ways, unexpected ways, impossible ways. Connections form that never existed before. Ideas meet, images merge, concepts collide, possibilities emerge. This isn't random, it's generative, productive, creative. The same neural networks that hold memories now play with them, recombine them, creating novelty from familiarity, innovation from what's already known. This is where insights come from, solutions, breakthroughs. Born in the recombinant space of REM sleep. Familiar stories gain new interpretations. The narrative you've been telling yourself about who you are, what happened, what it meant. It softens, becomes less fixed, less certain. opens to different readings, alternative meanings, fresh perspectives. What seemed like failure might be reinterpreted as learning. What felt like rejection might be seen as redirection, protection. What appeared as ending might reveal itself as beginning. The facts remain, but the meaning shifts, transforms, evolves. What seemed fixed becomes fluid, open to rewriting. And with new interpretation comes new possibility. Cognitive flexibility increases through network reorganization. As your brain rewires during sleep, doesn't just strengthen what's already there. It creates new pathways, new routes between ideas, new bridges between concepts, making your thinking more adaptable, less rigid, more dynamic, more alive. You become capable of thinking in ways you couldn't before. Not smarter necessarily, but more flexible, more creative, more open. Able to shift perspectives, consider alternatives, hold complexity. Your mind becomes spacious, accommodating, capable of movement. This is cognitive flexibility, the opposite of rigidity. Multiple perspectives become accessible. Where you once saw only one way, one truth, one answer, one interpretation, now you can hold several simultaneously without contradiction. This and that, both valid, both real, both true in their own way. You can see from your view and also from theirs. Understand your position and also the opposing one. Your mind becomes large enough to contain multiplicity. This isn't confusion, it's sophistication, maturity, wisdom. The ability to hold paradox, to embrace complexity, to resist false simplicity. Built through reorganization, through new connections, through sleep. Old meanings are gently overwritten. Not erased, but updated, revised, modified. What that moment meant to you 5 years ago, it can mean something different now, something more useful, more accurate, more kind. The past doesn't change, the events remain, but your relationship to it does. Memory is not fixed. It's reconstructed each time you recall it. And in that reconstruction, meaning can shift, update, evolve. Sleep facilitates this, especially REM, where memories are reactivated and reworked. What once felt devastating might soften into something survivable. What once felt shameful might transform into something understandable, human. New insights integrate into stable patterns. Those moments of understanding, the realizations that arrive unexpectedly, the aha moments, the sudden clarity, the flash of knowing. They don't just drift away, fade, disappear. They're woven into your neural architecture, consolidated, made permanent, becoming part of how you think, how you see, how you understand. The insight becomes integrated, not separate from you, but part of you. A stable pattern, reliably accessible, foundational. This is how wisdom accumulates, how understanding deepens. Through insights that are captured, held, built into structure. Creativity becomes grounded rather than chaotic. The new ideas, the fresh perspectives, the innovative solutions. They're not wild and disconnected, untethered, impractical. They're anchored, practical, integrated with what you already know. Innovation that actually serves you, creativity that you can use. REM sleep doesn't just generate novelty, it connects novelty to existing knowledge, making new ideas usable, applicable, grounded in reality. You wake up with solutions that actually work, insights you can implement. Not fantasies, but functional creativity. Grounded, realistic, and still genuinely new. Growth feels safer and more natural. Change doesn't have to be violent, disruptive, terrifying, shattering. It can be gentle, organic, gradual, like a plant slowly unfurling. You don't have to tear yourself apart to become someone new. You can grow into it, expand into it, evolve into it. One night at a time, one insight at a time, one reorganization at a time. Growth becomes something you trust rather than something you fear. Because it's happening naturally, safely, in alignment with your nervous system. Not forced, not rushed, just allowed. And that feels safe, sustainable, right. Change no longer threatens identity. You used to fear that becoming different would mean losing yourself. That growth would erase who you were. That change would destroy continuity. But now you understand, through experience, through embodied knowing. Change is not erasure, it's expansion, evolution, becoming more. You can become more without becoming less. Add new capacities without losing old ones. Grow while still being you, continuous, coherent, whole. Identity can be stable and flexible, solid and evolving. This paradox resolves, and fear dissolves. Exploration replaces defense. Instead of protecting what you've always believed, guarding your worldview, defending your interpretations, clinging to certainty, you become curious, open, willing to explore, willing to consider, to wonder, to question, to discover. Not from a place of doubt, but from a place of openness, interest, possibility. The walls come down, the defenses soften, and what remains is possibility, space, freedom, aliveness. You explore ideas, perspectives, meanings, not to prove yourself right, but to learn, to grow, to discover what's true. So rest now. Let your mind recombine, reorganize, recreate. Tomorrow you may wake with a new way of seeing, a fresh interpretation, an unexpected insight. And it will feel natural, right, like it was always there, because it was built in the night while you dreamed. Each night offers another opportunity for alignment. Every time you close your eyes, every time you rest, every time you sleep, the process begins again. Another chance to move closer to who you want to be. Another opportunity for integration, for consolidation, for change. Night is not wasted time, not empty space, not nothingness. It's active, productive, transformative. Each night, your brain aligns itself more closely with your intentions, with what you practiced, what you focused on, what you chose. Tomorrow is built tonight. Accumulate through repetition. One thought before sleep, it's just a whisper, a seed, barely noticeable. But night after night, whispers become declarations, seeds become trees. Tiny shifts, repeated, become transformations. You don't need grand gestures, dramatic changes, complete overhauls. Small is enough, consistent is powerful, repeated is transformative. Each small intention, each gentle focus, each quiet choice, they add up, compound, multiply, until one day you realize you're not who you used to be. Built from countless small intentions, accumulated, embodied, real. Sleep amplifies what you practice. Whatever you return to, whatever you focus on, whatever you do repeatedly. Sleep takes it and strengthens it, deepens it, makes it real, makes it you. Your practice doesn't end when you close your eyes. It continues amplified in the darkness through consolidation, through tagging and capture. Practice kindness during the day. Sleep strengthens kindness circuits at night. Practice presence. Sleep consolidates presence pathways. Practice gratitude. Sleep embeds gratitude into your neural architecture. This is the amplification, the multiplication, the deepening. What you practice becomes who you are through sleep. RAS, filtering, vagal calm, and plasticity work together. The gatekeeper of your attention, the safety of your nervous system, the rewiring of your brain. They're not separate processes, isolated mechanisms, independent systems. They collaborate, support each other, create harmony, synergy, integration. Safety allows plasticity. Without safety, the brain stays rigid, defensive. Plasticity updates the RAS. New wiring creates new filtering rules. The RAS reinforces new identity, showing you evidence of who you're becoming. A beautiful cycle, a virtuous loop, each element supporting the others. This is why change feels impossible when you're dysregulated, and natural when you're calm. The systems work together or work against each other. Sleep mediates conscious choice and subconscious wiring. What you consciously choose during the day, sleep translates it into subconscious structure, automatic pattern, embodied reality. The bridge between intention and integration, between who you want to be and who you're becoming. Your conscious mind sets direction, makes choices, holds intentions. Your subconscious mind follows, builds, embodies, automates. And sleep is the translator, the mediator, the bridge. Taking conscious effort and making it unconscious ease. This is how practice becomes nature. Old patterns harmonize with new desires. You don't have to fight your past, reject your history, erase what was. The old and the new, they can coexist, blend, harmonize, integrate. What was informing what will be. Your past self, your current self, your future self, all present, all real, all you. Without conflict, without violence, just gentle integration, natural evolution. The wisdom from old patterns, combined with the direction of new desires, creating something richer than either alone. You don't have to become someone else, just a fuller version of yourself. Everything you've been, contributing, to everything you're becoming. Daily experience feels more aligned with values. You start to notice your actions match your beliefs more closely. What you say you care about and what you actually do, they move toward each other, converge, align, become one. Not through force, not through willpower, not through constant monitoring, but through the quiet work of neural change, through consolidation, through embodiment. Your values become automatic, natural, just how you move through the world. The gap between aspiration and action, it closes, dissolves, disappears. You become integrated, whole, authentic, aligned. Living from your values, not trying to, just doing it. Consistent sleep stabilizes the process. One good night helps. One night of consolidation moves you forward. But many good nights, that's where lasting change lives. Consistency is the container, the steady rhythm, the reliable foundation that allows transformation to root deeply, stabilize, become permanent. Sporadic sleep creates sporadic change, unstable, reversible. But consistent sleep creates consistent change, reliable, enduring, real. Night after night, the work accumulates, compounds, solidifies. This is why sleep hygiene matters, why routine matters, why prioritizing rest matters. It's not indulgent, it's foundational. Nightly adjustments quietly add up. You might not notice the change from one night to the next. Tonight feels like yesterday. Tomorrow might feel like today. But look back over months, over years, and you'll see how far you've traveled, how much you've changed. Carried by countless small adjustments, night after night, adjustment after adjustment. Each one tiny, imperceptible, almost nothing. But together, they're everything. The transformation is built from these nightly adjustments, these quiet shifts. Patient, persistent, powerful. And as the brain rewires, it learns that it is safe to change. Change doesn't have to be catastrophic, overwhelming, terrifying, destructive. Your brain discovers, through gentle repetition, through safe nights. That transformation can feel good, natural, right, safe. And once it knows this, once it trusts this, once it embodies this, change becomes easier, welcomed, even desired, sought out. The resistance dissolves, the fear releases, the openness emerges. You become someone who grows, who evolves, who transforms. Not despite yourself, but as yourself. So rest now, knowing you're part of something larger. The long arc of change, small shifts, repeated, becoming who you are. One peaceful night at a time. And so, we come to the end of this journey. But the work continues. Even as these words fade, your brain carries on. Rewiring, reorganizing, becoming. You've learned tonight about the remarkable process of neuroplasticity. How sleep becomes the gateway to transformation. How small shifts, repeated, become who you are. But you don't need to hold on to any of this. Let it all go. Let the knowledge drift into the background, where it can do its quiet work. Your only task now is to rest, to sink deeper into sleep, to trust the process that's already unfolding. Each breath slower, softer. Each thought fading, dissolving. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just this peaceful darkness, this gentle surrender. Your brain knows what to do. It's been doing this your entire life. And tonight, it continues. So rest now. Let go completely and sleep. Deep, restorative, transformative sleep. Good night.